Has it gone on yet?
You're live on YouTube.
Hi, everybody. We're syncing in on the Facebook live as well, so I should just take a moment or two. Beautiful day in New Milford today. I was at the farmers market today, Grant. Great to see people there supporting our farmers and small business. It was great to see.
It's a beautiful day.
Absolutely.
We're just waiting for YouTube or Facebook to kick in.
Okay.
So when that comes on, I'll cue the music, and it looks like we're live.
All right. All right. Good morning, New Milford. Hope everybody's having a wonderful morning today. It's a beautiful day out. I was just talking to Grant just a minute before we clicked on. I was at the farmers market today. It was great to see all the people at the farmers market. Always great to hear little Jason Aldean before we start the day. So that's great. And what kind of music do you like, Grant?
I listen to the whole broad spectrum of things. It's ridiculous. But lately I've been listening to a lot of James Taylor for some reason, which I'm kind of in a way embarrassed to admit live, but it's some music I grew up with. My father always playing James Taylor, so it's nice to listen to those things.
So maybe we can get some requests from some of the people who have tuned in, something we can start with next week. If somebody has a favorite band or a favorite artist, we can start off with that. I think that'd be pretty cool. So let Grant know. And then what I'd like to do is kind of start with our statistics as we always do. But before that, Grant, how are the kids doing?
Thank you. They're great. This nice weather. Looking forward to. I've got a 2-year-old daughter, Charlie, and then an almost 2-month-old named Sadie. So Sadie's a little young to enjoy the outdoors, but Charlie and I are definitely going to go hiking and playing outside tomorrow. And then there's a rumor that a swing set's going to be built this weekend, so we'll see.
Oh, they'll enjoy that.
Yeah, she's going to love it. I'm excited. She misses the playground and the slide, and she's been asking for it, so we bought one, and it's on a truck somewhere, and should be in today. So we're looking forward to doing that.
Outstanding.
Yeah. How about your family?
Well, they're doing wonderfully. My middle daughters, my oldest daughter Jordan, if she's watching, hi Jordan, hi Amanda. Then my middle daughter Tia and my youngest daughter Fotini. I don't know if they're watching today, but they've been doing the long distance learning, and also going remotely with their friends and whatnot. They're excited, with the new gathering rules to maybe be able to see their friends. So that's a great thing.
That's great.
So welcome everybody. Again, thank you for tuning in today for our COVID-19 and virtual town hall meeting, as we've been doing every Saturday. And as always, I like to start kind of with the statistics that we have so far. I'd like to thank Mike Crespin, our health director, for updating us on the numbers. So currently the state of Connecticut, The number of confirmed cases is 41,762. That's up 203 from yesterday. Litchfield County, we have 1,375, with hospitalizations for the entire county at 5. New Milford, we have 269 confirmed cases and 21 people that have passed, unfortunately, due to COVID-19. And if we could please say a prayer for those that have passed and their families. Also, with that in mind, as we say every week, if you could please practice and continue with the 6 feet social distancing, washing the hands 20 seconds under your spigot with as hot as water as you can tolerate, up to your wrists under your fingernails if you can do that. And if you can't wash your hands, if you're not around, if you can use hand sanitizer. The more that we can do that, obviously, the more we can help mitigate the transfer of this virus. Also, when you're out, if you could please wear a mask, as this is a highly contagious virus, and the mask helps not yourself, but your neighbor or someone that you may be next to. Some of the updates from the state is starting June 1st. The Governor Lamont has allowed for the reopening of the barbershops and hair salons. So I know they're looking forward to that. They were supposed to open with the restaurants, outdoor seating on the 20th, but that was moved back. And June 1st will be the barbershops. Governor Lamont yesterday talked about amending the prohibitions for large gatherings. That was as of day before yesterday. That was a maximum of 5 people. And now it's been effective June 1st. They're going to change, and it will be raised to 10 people indoors and then 25 people outdoors. That's also subject to safety restrictions and existing business sector rules. But for the majority, outside has been raised to 25. For our religious, spiritual, and worship gatherings, they're raised to 25% of the capacity of the indoor space, or a maximum of 100 people, whichever is smaller, and 150 people for outdoor gatherings for religious and spiritual and worship gatherings. And that, as long as you practice safety and your social distancing, that's the new gathering updates. So that's some good news, especially for those that want to have a few additional people around, and also for our churches for their reopenings. On the utility front, the utility shutoff moratorium for businesses has been extended through July 1st, and the residential shutoff moratorium continues for the duration of the emergency. The Connecticut Utility Regulatory Authority, and their acronym, if you ever hear it, is PURA, announced the utility shutoff moratorium for non-residential customers in the state will continue through July 1, 2020. Also, PURA wants to warn customers of the recent uptick in utility-related scams. So if you get a call from someone saying that they're from the utility, please, you're encouraged to call the utility company directly with questions and concerns, and make sure to validate the person that actually would be with the utility, and not someone trying to do something nefarious. Connecticut's regulated electric, natural gas, and water public utility companies are currently not terminating service due to non-payment for as long as the emergency shutoff moratoriums remain in place. Also concerning phase 2, and phase 2 will be starting on June 20th, as long as our hospitalization numbers stay where they are or they trend down. We're going to be looking at different openings. One's going to be gym, fitness, and sports clubs that are due to open. All personal services, which would be nail salons, tattoo parlors, outdoor arts, entertainment, and events up to 50 people would be allowed. Outdoor amusement parks, movie theaters, bowling alleys, social clubs and pools, all museums, zoos, and aquariums, and restaurants, indoor dining but with no bar service. Also for education and community services, in phase 2, selected youth sports, all summer day camps, public libraries, non-residential workforce programs, non-residential clinical laboratory courses, K through 12 summer school, which would start on July 6th, other non-residential programs, which would start July, August, graduate programs, which would be July, August, and undergraduate residential small-scale pilot programs, July and August. Governor Lamont also said undergraduate residential programs at colleges, K through 12 schools, and boarding schools decisions will be made at a later date on those. For those that are looking to go to the casinos, they are set to reopen to the public on June 1st. Phase 3, when we get to phase 3, and that would be sometime later in the summer, potentially in late July, depending on the numbers. The businesses that would open in phase 3 would include bars, indoor space events and venues, indoor amusement parks and arcades, and outdoor events, which then the limit would go to 100 people. So these are all good news as we're looking to continue to reopen Connecticut and reopen New Milford. And speaking of reopening New Milford, just as an update, we continue with our ability for outdoor dining with our restaurants. And speaking to some of our restaurant owners, they're very appreciative of our residents and non-residents that are coming and patronizing their businesses. So I'd like to thank those people. And also those restaurants that have decided to open up and offer this service to our residents. And it's good to see that people are partaking of that. And also, if you still feel a little uncomfortable about doing the outdoor dining, you still can do pickup, curbside pickup, or delivery. Check with your local restaurant to see the availabilities for that. But that's also another one. If you're still a little apprehensive about that, you can also do gift cards as well, all to help our small businesses. Also, our retail establishments are opening back up, and that's a wonderful thing to see as well. And I've heard from a few of our retail establishments that they're beginning to see people coming into the stores, shopping, and that is all great news for our New Milford businesses. Here at Townhall, we continue with appointment only here at Town as we're bringing back those employees that were working remotely, and the goal is to have it fully staffed by the end of next week. We've been going through the full pandemic, offering our governmental services, and I can't thank our town employees enough for working through so far this phase 1 and before, and working through all this to help our residents and to help our business community and investment community as well. So I can't thank our town employees enough for that, providing those essential services. With that kind of going into the economy that we're looking at both as a nation and as a state and as a town of New Milford, and some of the headwinds that we are seeing is the continuation of layoffs that are happening on a national, regional, and on a local level. The 4-week moving average for unemployment is 22.72 million, which was an increase of 760,250 from the previous week. And since the pandemic, which was declared in mid-March, 40.8 million have filed claims for unemployment, which has resulted in as much as 21.5 trillion that's affected our U.S. economy in the lockdown for the 2.5 months that we've been on lockdown. A separate report Thursday showed the first quarter GDP contracted by 5%. Now they're indicating that the Atlantis Fed and their GDP Now tracker is indicating a 41.9% plunge for quarter 2. That would be the worst in U.S. history. And that would put the U.S. firmly in a recession, depression territory. Most economists, though, are expecting a rebound in the second half of the year after the restrictions are continued to be lifted. And speaking of the economy, as we said before, we're continuing to opening more things up in New Milford. There's also the availability for continued grants and continued opportunities for funding for businesses through the state, through the SBA, and through grant opportunities. Budget-related material, our municipal budget on Monday, starting at 6:15. You have the opportunity to speak to the town council as they're going to start their budget deliberations on Monday. Once they complete their budget deliberations with Governor Lamont's executive order, that will be the budget. Unfortunately, as we've talked about many times here on our virtual town hall meetings, there's no ability for the public to vote for this year's municipal budget. After the town council decides and deliberates and votes, that will be the set budget for this next coming municipal year. So you can go on to the town website, which is www.milford.org. On the homepage, you'll see right on the right-hand side where you can click the link to the virtual town hall meeting, and then from there you'll be able to see the town council. And if you'd like to speak at public participation, there's a connotations there on how to do that. Also kind of updating those that are watching on some of the other things. Len Deming. So Len Deming, we continue to have the playground and the beach closed for social distancing. We have, by appointment only, allowed for the boat docks, people that have rented the boat docks, put their boats in. Also, for those that want to launch their boat, you can do so. You can call a Park and Rec team and ask for an appointment, and they will get you an appointment so you can launch your boat. And this is all in keeping with the social distancing practicing. Also, for those that have rented kayaks there for their locks there for their kayaks, you can do that as well. And that's all in keeping with the social distancing. Speaking with the Park and Rec team, we're currently assessing Len Deming Park for additional openings, if at all possible, as we migrate through this next month. And we'll have more on that next week. Also, continuing with the parks, our parks are continued for town parks for New Milford residents only. And we continue to monitor those. Thank you to the New Milford Police Department, our park ranger, as we continue to allow for our residents to partake in exercise. If you do happen to go to one of our parks and see that the parking lot is full, please try another park or come back a little later, because we want to make sure and keep the social distancing the best we can. So that's very important. Also, as we talked about before, you can do your exercise in your neighborhood. Take a walk on one of the side roads that we have available in town or around your neighborhood. It's great to get out to get some fresh air. Also, moving forward too, we're looking at riverways, and that's the Housatonic River that splits the town. And I'm meeting with the chief of police tomorrow, and we're going to be going and assessing those. As we know, with the state parks, in the ones that are in the interior of the state will be closed all summer. So we do know there are other people, when the state parks are closed, they tend to come to our riverways and come in and park where they deemed want to park. And we've had issues with littering and with people not observing the common rules of making sure you pick up your litter or your materials, and also trying to swim in dangerous places. So we are going to continue to monitor those aggressively, and those that do litter will be fined to the maximum. And we're going to be looking at ways to prevent those people trying to swim in dangerous ways for public safety. And we'll be talking more about that next week. I'd also like to thank Councilman Chris Cosgrove again for our town sustainability fund and helping with that grant. Good news, we're almost close to $15,000 in that account, which is going to be great. I'm going to be talking to the council at our next regular town council meeting We've already had a few requests for the use of that fund, and that's going to be helpful to our community in so many ways. So I'm very excited about that. I also like to talk real quickly as one of the things that we're looking for as far as when we move forward is different parts of our plan. And our midterm strategies we talked about before is food sustainability and food substance, especially those that are in need. And we asked our residents to establish victory gardens. I know, Grant, you've been helpful with that as well as our victory garden subcommittee. And one of the things that I'm glad to see is people putting those in their yards, also doing a plant out of just a garden inside almost, Grant, right? And what this is doing is bringing in nice fresh vegetables that can be shared with their neighbor, or those, if you have an additional bounty, can give to the food bank, Carmela's Cupboard, and whatnot. So that's a wonderful endeavor. It's great to see people are taking up on it. And also the businesses that are helping with the Victory Gardens as well. I also like to thank Mayor Gambino for offering soil testing. You can drop it off at his garden. And where's that at, Grant?
It's over on Upland Road,
Yep.
the road where the silo is, and also
Absolutely.
Finnegan's Farm.
Right.
But it's Northville Garden and Greenhouse, I believe.
Absolutely. And he's got the little almost like what would we call it? Almost
It's like a push cart.
like a push cart.
He's got,
and you can drop your soil thing there, and Mayor Gambino, for no charge, will test it for you. Let you know, because the soil is very important as we plant vegetables for our Victory Garden. So I'd like to thank him for that, and all of our Victory Garden committee for all their hard work. And next week, Diane Clafe is going to be handing out the free seedlings. So that's going to be a wonderful thing for those people that are starting their gardens. And speaking of farm production, Sullivan Farms, which is a town-owned farm up here on 202, they're continuing on with their planting. And I'd asked them to double production to help, and they're well on their way for that. And I also like to thank Marjorie Foberg, who is on our coronavirus task force, and she's been helping with the farms to see about increasing productivity, increasing food production for our town and for the residents. So I can't thank them enough. So Grant, before I move on to anything else, do we have any questions or any comments so far?
Alrighty, we'll start with the Facebook questions and comments. We got Pat Schruff says good morning.
Morning, Pat.
And then Tom Williams from the New Milford Senior Center says hi, Pete.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Jason Roberts is watching along with us from VCA.
Hey, Jason.
And then
VCA done a tremendous job for our kids. Grant, a lot of times I see some of the wonderful events that they do for our kids. I know last summer they were doing the Harry Potter summer camp. And they were playing the Quidditch. I hope I got that right on the green. That was pretty cool to watch. And I love the shows that they do put on for what the kids and the adults make. It's just a wonderful thing. And thank you to the VCA for that.
And VCA has been great during this pandemic with putting like art supplies and things out for people to take home and entertain and occupy themselves during the quarantine.
And that's great.
Been pretty nice.
Yeah, everybody helping each other out. And that's what's great about this community.
Sir. This one's kind of funny. Someone notices Tammy's handiwork. Peg Avery says, "Nice haircut."
So I like to thank my beautiful and multi-talented wife. Thank you, and thank you, Tammy. I love you, honey.
I'd say the public probably thanks you too. You're getting a little shaggy there, Pete. No offense.
That's what my daughter said.
It was time. So good work, Tammy. Chris Penn Grenier says good morning, as does Elaine Bertram.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Elaine. Thank you for tuning in today.
And this is pretty cool. Not sure where she's from, but Gina Alessio says, I have a trip to New England planned for my mom's 75th birthday in October, hoping we can still make it happen. Your little town is on our list to visit. We'll stay tuned for future restrictions and recommendations.
Well, thank you, Gina. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for when you do come up to visit our beautiful town. I say it's the best town in the USA. And when you do come up here and you're here with your family and your mom, God bless. And happy birthday to her early.
Awesome. Then we've got another good morning from Eileen Kylie Hasty.
Good morning, Eileen.
Some more viewers that are watching with us. We've got Billy Mobuckby, Paul Szymanski.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Um,
And it's good to see State Representative Buckby tuning in. We can't thank the representative enough for his efforts up in Hartford for us here, especially as we move forward through the pandemic. And also his help in bringing some much needed guidance and rules. I know he's got some bills coming up when it comes to our drug plans, drug enforcement plans, and drug interdiction plans, and helping those that are addicted. So thank you, State Representative Buckby, for that. And we can talk more about that next week as well.
all right. Got Bob Capola saying thanks, Mayor Pete, and some good mornings from Emily.
Hi, Mr. C. Good morning.
And Alan and Deb Clady say good morning, as does Loretta Kretschko.
Good morning, Loretta, Alan, and Deb. Good morning. Thank you for tuning in.
Tammy says, I don't even know what this means. I'm so out of touch with some things. Tammy Bass says he was looking ratchet. I don't know. Maybe somebody could explain what that means. I don't know, Tammy, if you want to comment. Got a good morning from Leslie Sarich
Good morning, Leslie.
and Savannah Romansky.
Good morning, Savannah.
And then Lois from the Youth Agency says good morning.
Good
Mayor."
morning, Lois.
Gina Alessio, she's the woman who was going to come take her grandmother out here, says thank you. And Representative Buckby says always here for you, Mr. New Milford Mayor Pete Bass.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So we got a lot of good mornings and hellos and things
Outstanding.
on Facebook. And then switching on over to YouTube, we've got Pat Erickson. She's got a couple things. She says, proud to be an American, great song. I guess that's in reference to the Jason Aldean that we played at the beginning.
Amen to that, Pat.
And then Pat comes in with a question here. She says, regarding the neglect of the Larson property, the schools are going to have an extremely difficult time just dealing with education. Can the town maintenance department take over our school properties?
So currently, how the budget is working currently is that there are two separate entities. So the Board of Education has their own facilities crew, and that facility crew takes care of all Board of Education facilities, whether it be the schools, the fields, the ballparks, all within the confines of the school, including the Larson Farm buildings that are adjoined to the high school. And then the town itself has its own facilities crew that handles all other town buildings. Park and Rec then does the ball fields, all in a way. We do currently look at opportunities when we do speak with the Board of Education and the Board of Education partners. But currently, that's kind of the breakout of who handles facilities for the Board of Education.
All right. Over on YouTube, we've got Linda Kennan. She says, good morning. Thank you so much for
Morning, Linda.
keeping us informed every week, as well as your updates on Facebook. She appreciates the positive posts about our wonderful town.
Best town in the USA. That's what I say. Right, Grant?
Right. You've got a plaque right there. It's
Absolutely.
Pretty obvious that we
Absolutely.
Over back on Facebook, Elaine Bertrand is saying, I'm in Clovis, New Mexico, and I've been watching your little town. I appreciate your leadership during this difficult time. So
Thank you, Elaine. Appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Alrighty, and then we've got Tammy Bass, who I'm still waiting for clarification on what ratchet means. But, she says, congrats to the New Milford Police Department for the recent drug busts.
Absolutely. And I was going to be beginning that in the next round after these salutations and answering any questions. So moving into that. So definitely like to thank our New Milford Police Department for their continued interdiction on those that want to deal illegal drugs here in New Milford. And this is the second major apprehension in the last few weeks. I'd like to thank Chief Ceruto and the men and the women of the New Milford Police Department. And as we've said time and again, there is no tolerance at all for illegal drug sales here in New Milford to our residents. And we're going to continue to be very vigilant and ask for full prosecution to the utmost of the law for those that try to do these sales in our wonderful town. So thank you again to our New Milford Police Department.
And that canine team is awesome. We've got 3 canines and 3 canine officers. I've had the privilege of making videos and meeting 2 of them. And one of the recent drug busts was, I believe, canine from Officer Shaw and canine Mattis. So looking forward to meeting them.
And that's great, Grant, to see. Is obviously we have many new things. We've had the dogs for quite some time, but it's great that we have the 3 dogs now that are in our patrol, and then also we have other things as well. We have now our motorcycles that will be up and running at some point in time, hopefully in the summer, and that all depends on the training that will be allowed for COVID-19. Then also we have our helicopter that is a wonderful thing that costs the town no money. So we were able to secure that with a grant from the foundation, and all of the maintenance also on that is free. So it was a great thing. I thank Chief Ceruto for that, and it's another one of our tools in the tool belt, so to speak, to help us with interdiction, especially when it comes to the drugs. So I'd like to thank them for that. And also, real quick, too, thank all of our first responders, whether it be our fire, our police, our ambulance, our DPW, all of our essential workers, town employees, medical staff, and also the people that do, Grant, that do the cleaning too. Our facilities team here at Townhall does deep cleanings 2 or 3 times a day. When you go to the hospital, it's the hospital employees that are doing those cleanings. All those people that are just doing, a yeoman's job, I can't thank them enough for doing all of that work. Our CNAs, our nurses, our doctors, everybody working together to really fight this virus and this pandemic, and I can't thank them enough for that.
Righty. It seems like your haircut is the main focus this morning.
Good.
Chris Cosgrove says, if you need in the future, I can recommend a great barber at Waterwitch Hose Company.
That would be Chief Squires. And for those that haven't seen, as I had said before, Councilman Cosgrove is leading the charge on the Sustainability Fund, and he put out a call to the residents. If you could get $1,500 in a week, he would have Chief Squires shave his head. So if you go on our sustainability Facebook page, you can actually see Chief Squires giving Councilman Cosgrove a nice haircut, because we were able to hit that mark. So I can't thank them both enough, and thank you, Councilman Cosgrove.
And there's a rumor that you can actually see Councilman Cosgrove from space, from the reflection of the sun. That's just what I heard. I haven't seen it yet. Sorry, sir. Back to the haircut. Representative Billy Mo Buckby says the haircut looks great, but with all these other officials shaving their heads to raise money, you'd look good bald, Mr. Mayor. He says it's a good look. I feel like he's a little biased, though. I don't know.
Like Billy is a little biased.
In that respect. And then it gets worse here. We've got Loretta Crutchko, who is my cousin. Hi, Loretta. She says you just want a partner in crime to rep Buckby here. So Chris, glad you found that funny, sir. I wasn't sure how that was going to go. He did some smiley face emojis in reference to the comment. We'll switch back over to YouTube for a bit. There's a couple more comments that have come in.
And then we'll continue on with some other topics that we have as well.
All right. We've got a House of Warmth, which is Ryan and Nairi Pike.
Hi, guys.
They say best town agreed. Thank you, Mayor Pete.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your investment in New Milford. And for those that haven't been down to House of Warmth, they have some wonderful I like those tables that have the fire that comes out of the middle of them, those fire tables, I call them, right? Those things are really cool. When we went down there and saw their operation, and obviously, as everyone can assess, I like a very good meal, and I like those cookers that they have there. Those things are pretty cool. So thank you guys again for your investment in our wonderful town.
Right. Yeah, they have some great things down there, and they're really good people. We've got Pat Erickson again over on YouTube. Just kind of a comment question. She says, having seen the lack of maintenance being provided by the school maintenance department, I think our town needs to start questioning what they actually are doing. She's a little unhappy about that, I guess. Back on Facebook, we've got Margaret Toomey Albert, who tuned in a little bit. She says, I tuned in a little bit late, but she's asking, what is the plan for schools? And I'm assuming that means start time. Or...
So currently, Margaret, there's a great question. The state Board of Education and the governor will be the ones making the decision for the state as to when they're looking to open. And they're currently assessing on weekly calls when there is the opportunity to listen to the state Board of Education chairman. And they're going through kind of logistically how that would work when you're putting in the social distancing requirements within the classrooms at 6 feet per child. You're looking at, for some of the regions, being extremely difficult to manage that in one classroom. So when you kind of look at that a little bit further, would that mean multiple shifts of classes during the school day? Would that mean different days, maybe 3 days in school, 2 days long distance learning, and then doing that in a revolving week schedule? So it's pretty complicated. So I know right now the boards of education and superintendents are all trying to figure out the plan for that. And how that will come about. And then I know we're supposed to be getting some more guidance as to when they're going to do their opening. And that should be sometime a little bit later. And once we know more about that, we'll be sharing that on our social sites as well as when we're doing these weekly updates. And also, while we have a moment, Grant, I'd also like to thank Superintendent Parker, Board of Education, our New Milford PTO, our New Milford grad party for doing and our Chief Cerruto and Chief Squires, as we've all sat down, and Principal Shagru, as we've all met several times down at the high school, as far as the graduation this year in 2020 and the availability, even during this COVID-19, for our graduating seniors to get their diploma and somewhat of a abbreviated graduation. So I can't thank all those entities enough for continuing to move that project forward. And again, it's in the spirit of making sure that our graduates get honored as they should.
Alrighty. Got a good morning from Lisa Palmer on Facebook.
Good morning, Lisa.
And then Savannah Romansky says, are there any updates on when the playground at Youngs Field would be open for the public?
Yeah, so great question, Savannah. So what we're doing now is assessing this with our health department, Mike Crespin, and we also communicate with our state Department of Health, as they are, especially during this pandemic, a very essential part of helping open and look at ways to reopen or keep things closed if we have to for our community. So right now we're assessing how and when we could do playgrounds and fields, and we'll be addressing more of that as we go into next week. Also, real quick, Grant, as we're waiting for stuff, just some other updates as far as the town goes itself. One of the things that we have done to talk to Pat Erickson's comments on some of the things, we've partnered with the Board of Education, and with the town council's approval, we've jointly hired a energy company to assess our energy needs. And the goal with that is when we did hire the energy consultant, we're going to be hiring an ESCO, and that's a company that will oversee some of the capital things that we'll be doing. And what they're going to do is monitor if we do different types of capital requirements. So, for instance, if you get if you need a new chiller, right? At one of the schools, you put the new chiller, that should save X amount of dollars of your energy costs. If you take that money, it would be the difference in your energy costs, and apply that to the purchase of this new machine or new equipment that helps offset costs. You can do that at basically no cost to the taxpayer, no additional cost. You're just using a cash flow strategy. So in partnership with the Board of Ed and the town, we've been going through those. I should have more information on that. And this is an opportunity to really help get additional capital that's needed for both the town and the school at no cost, no additional cost to our taxpayers. So we're looking at different alternative ways outside of the box ways to help our residents and to help our taxpayers.
Awesome. Got another from Elaine Bertram. She's over there in Clovis, New Mexico, watching. She has to tell Dr. Parker that Elaine Whitfield Bertram said hi from Clovis, New Mexico. Just checking in.
Good.
And the comments and questions seem to have slowed a little bit here. So, anyhow.
Well, I just want to thank everyone first for, again, tuning in. And as we have said each time we're doing this, if we do need to do more of these throughout the week, we will. But right now, once a week seems to be the best time to do it, especially on these Saturdays, where it gives people a chance, those that are working, a chance to plan, and if they can watch this. If when we do updates that are on an hourly and daily basis, that's through our Facebook page or our Twitter feed. Also, we do CT alerts as well, and it's all to keep our residents informed as we're moving through this pandemic. Our COVID-19, and we also have a task force that meets weekly on Fridays, and that's all of our stakeholders from all our department heads to nonprofits, to State Representative Buckby from the state, to our Emergency Operations Command, all in efforts to continue to move our plans forward as far as through this pandemic. And, we've gone through what is currently we're looking at, then to our midterm strategy, and then our long-term strategy. So as we're going through all these phases, I just want the public to be reassured that we're continuing with our planning and our processes. And I cannot thank our community enough for all they're doing during this pandemic, as we talked about before, and our residents. Grant, when we did the Unity parade, thank you, Chief Squires and all our first responders, seeing the public coming out, enjoying it, some people waving the flag, some people just waving. And it's all in our community spirit. And those that even pay it forward, you're at the grocery store or you're at the place to get coffee and you pay ahead. It's just a wonderful little gesture. And all those well wishes, I can't thank the public enough for everything that we're all doing together, because that's how we're going to get through this, is doing it and working all together. And that's what makes this town the best town in the USA. So with that being said, Grant, do we have anything else?
No, we got a few more that just came in. All right. So first off, Jessica Rice is watching from Rice Learning Center.
Hi, Jessica.
So thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. And, they do a great job down there tutoring our kids. And I can't thank Jess enough for that. And also they do a summer program for our kids. And also she does a great sign language program for those that are interested in doing sign language. Jessica has a wonderful program for that. And thank you for your investment, Jessica, in town. And I know you just opened up the new classroom on Railroad Street. So thank you very much for that.
And look forward to getting together with her to make a video about all the great things they do at her learning center. It'll be awesome. So We've got Tammy Bass here. She asks, "What is the plan for graduation? What's dates and times?"
So it's on June 20th, and tentatively the plan is that the graduates in their cars will meet up at Sarah Noble School, and then there'll be a procession of cars that will go from Sarah Noble School with a police escort down to New Milford High School, and from New Milford High School there will be a flow of cars that will go into the parking lot, and then we'll go around starting from the back end to the front. And from there, the student at certain particular times will walk in the procession, be able to take a few photos, get the box where the diploma would be encased in, and the opportunity to get thanked by Principal Shagru and Board of Ed Chairman Angie Chastain. And I believe there may be others. I'm not sure because they haven't finished that up. And that way they'll be able to have a somewhat of a procession and the ability to get their diploma and the availability to get pictures taken. I know they're continuing finalizing those plans, so stay tuned for that. But as we talked about before, I can't thank all those parties enough for really working hard on making that a reality for our seniors.
That's great stuff. Pat Erickson over on YouTube asks, when will our town meetings be going back to the E. Paul Martin room?
Great question, Pat. Now that we have the availability of additional gatherings, I'll be contacting Monday our town attorney, Randy DeBella, to see what opportunities we have to go from virtual to regular meeting. And stay tuned for that for next week. I'll have an update on that as well. So that's something that we're looking at now that Governor Lamont did increase the gathering numbers.
Right. Got a nice comment from Holly Cohen over on YouTube. She says, "I love the quiet but strong way our town honored our vets this past Memorial Day. Thank you for that."
Well, Holly, thank you. It was it was truly a blessing when I spoke with the chief and Chief Ceruto, spoke with Jim Delancey and with Jeff McBriarty. They're both the commanders of the VFW and American Legion, and Chief Squires, and our other chiefs as for our first responders as well, and talked about the need to honor those that have fallen for us. We've done it for years, whether it's during other pandemics, other issues that have faced our country. We still show honor and respect. I can't thank the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts enough for going out and placing the flags on the graves of the fallen, and all of the members of the people that helped to honor those. I'd like to thank Pat McGuire for the bagpipes. Grant, I always get chills when he plays those bagpipes. And I'm not Irish, I'm Greek, but I get chills when Pat plays those bagpipes. So I'd like to just thank everybody enough. Can't thank him enough for helping us honor those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And that's another reason, Grant, I think our town, best town in the USA.
Yes, sir. That was a great Memorial Day. Got over on Facebook, Leanne Zabrowski wants to thank the New Milford DPW for doing such a great job on fixing our roads.
Thank you, Leanne, and they have done a wonderful job. I can't thank Jack Healy. He's our Public Works Director, Mike Boucher, and the team enough for their continued efforts on really getting our road system, which is one of the biggest in the state, up to snuff. That's been one of our main focuses, is really working on road improvements and also looking at clearing sight lines. We've had a lot of rainy weather, which has really caused the vegetation to grow pretty rapidly, but we continue to work on those. And with the additional equipment that we've been able to purchase, they've done a yeoman's job and will continue to do so. So I'd like to thank our DPW team for their continued efforts, just as was mentioned before. Great job.
And they've been working not only hard, but smart. I think I saw the other day that the pothole machine has done, I think, over 32,000 patches in less than a year. That's insane.
And what's been great about that, Grant, is normally prior to the implementation of the machine, we would have between 4 and 6 men out putting in the coal patch. And now we've been able to take those men and reallocate them into other work that needs to get done, which is a savings, plus the savings on the material that we were using prior to the machine. It's an outstanding savings to the town, both in the ability to do additional work and also in capital. So it's been a great win because we only need one DPW employee to run the machine. So it's been a win-win for the town. So very exciting to see that.
Yeah, and a ton safer without 6 people in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. We've got Lisa Palmer on Facebook asking when nursing homes will open up so that she can see family members.
At least that's a great question. On the call that I was on this past week, there was some talk about that. Right now, there are still numbers in nursing homes that continue to increase. And I know they're continuing to look at all options for that. And I want to make sure first and foremost that the senior residents are safe and secure. And being that the seniors are the most vulnerable to this COVID-19, the state is really looking at ways to mitigate those rising numbers that were within the nursing homes. And I'm hoping to have some more information on when family members will be able to visit. I'm hoping within the next week or so.
All right. Good morning, Diane. Diane Clafe just joined.
Morning, Diane.
Watching with us. She's been awesome with the Victory Gardens.
Absolutely.
So good morning, Diane, and thank you. Now, on Facebook, Jean-Marie Mosca Vivian is asking, how long will the graduation parade be?
That's a great question. I'm thinking, and I'll probably know more as we move forward with this. I'm probably assuming a couple of hours, depending on the cars. I know that's a strategy that Principal Shagru and Chief Ceruto are working as they're finalizing the flow of how the procession will go. So I couldn't give you a definitive answer, but I'm thinking probably a couple of hours, I would think.
Alrighty. Then Camille Fleetwood would like to know if the numbers of COVID-19 if we're starting to see a downtrend with the numbers of COVID-19.
Hi, Camille. Great question. So if we're looking at statewide, the state really is focused on hospitalizations, and they are down, especially in Litchfield County here, which is good news. Locally, New Milford, we're kind of trending. We've been in this trend of a couple of between 2 and 3 new confirmed cases, and that's kind of in line. So we're kind of held steady. And when we mean confirmed, as we're looking at the numbers, because I've had people ask this before, confirmed cases are total numbers from when we started really running the numbers. So the majority of these confirmed numbers have already played out, so to speak. So they've already recovered, or unfortunately, some of 21 of those numbers of those people have passed. But the majority of those numbers have been kind of in the past. So we're noticing somewhat of a stabilization, according to Mike Cressman, our health director, which is a very good sign for us here in New Milford, which has allowed for reopening and looking at new opportunities for relaxing some of the guidelines that we do have.
Alrighty. The last comment that we've got on Facebook this morning is from Norma Solis, and she's saying thanks to Mr. Gambino. Now, Mr. Former Mayor Bob Gambino again has offered to do free soil testing out of his greenhouse on Upland Road in the Northville section of town, and he also I hate to take it away, but he's also offered to just answer any general gardening questions. He's very knowledgeable. He's actually a published author. And so if you give him a call, I can put the information for him in the comments here shortly. Or you can go to the Victory Garden page. It's
on our Facebook page,
right,
for Victory Gardens.
Got his phone number, so that's very, very generous.
And one of the things that is I'm a firm believer in is when the public and also private work together to really make the outcome better. And I cannot thank taking, for instance, the Victory Garden. So this was as we talked about before, this was one of the goals that we talked about through our coronavirus task force, and then took it to implementation, which again, these Victory Gardens really started in World War II, and they were basically for people to self-sustain themselves with nutritious vegetables. And if they had a bounty, they could share with their neighbors. Or what we're asking is not only that, if you do have a bounty, if you could give to our one of our food banks here in New Milford. With that being said, seeing people with experience like Mayor Gambino, Diane Clafe, Ms. Parsons, who's the New Milford Garden Club president and the Milford Garden Club. When you go to our Facebook page, you'll see like Andrea and you'll see Diane with some wonderful posts and film, a video that talk about how to do different type of gardening techniques. And it's using people's experiences to help one another for a better outcome. So that's just one small snippet of a wonderful partnership between our community to help everybody else. And I'll have some more exciting news on Victory Gardens, Grant. I'm keeping this a secret from you.
That's fine.
Okay?
All right.
For this Thursday, we're having an addition to the Victory Garden, which is going to be housed in the Victory Gardens, which I'm very excited about. So it's going to be something to tune in for next week.
Awesome. Look forward to learning about that and getting the word out. Back on Facebook, and we're starting to get a bunch more questions and comments here, Mayor. From Chris Simpson, he'd like to know.
Hi, Chris.
I'd like to know, will the town sports programs for the kids be opening back up soon?
Hi, Chris. So great question. In the phase 2 of Governor Lamont's order, youth sports will be permitted. And right now we're right now going through all of the guidelines as they have them today. And those can change a little bit, but yes, they will be allowing for youth sports. I don't know the exact manner of how the guidelines will be, but the good news is with the increase in the gatherings now that were 5 or less, now up to 25. That's a great start, and we'll go to 50 on phase 2 on June 20th. So yes, there will be the availability for youth sports. We're just fine tuning and getting guidance from the state on how to proceed with that.
Alrighty, great information to know there. Back over on YouTube, Roberto Russo says,
Hi, Roberta.
She says, on average, we test 20 people a day in New Milford. What can we do to increase the number?
So great question, Roberta. In our coronavirus task force, I was speaking with Mike Cressman, our health director, and our New Milford VNA is very close to being approved and tasked with being the availability for them to test in New Milford. Hopefully, I'll have more information on that in our next talk next week. But the VNA is looking to be the go-to place for testing here in New Milford. I'll have more information on that next week. And it is very important as we continue to move forward to do additional testing. I know Quest will be doing the antibody testing. So if you feel that you've already had it, we'll have more information we can post on our links during the week on that as well. So the availability of additional testing, I know CVS is doing testing in different locations or more of their high volume stores, but looking to put more in because our town at 26,917 isn't as big as a population, isn't as big as a Danbury or a New Haven or a Westport. So it's going to take our CVS a little bit longer to get that testing here, but the VNA will be doing that shortly, and we'll have more information on that.
Alrighty. And on Facebook here again, we've got Jean-Marie Mosca-Vivian says thank you on the first question, and she would like to know where can people stand to be safe to watch parade in small groups? I don't know if we have any. Do we have an upcoming parade or anything going on like that you're aware of?
Nothing now, but if you were speaking of, say, the Unity parades where you had the first responders go around, basically the best thing to do is to stay 6 feet away from one another for proper social distancing. and wear a mask. As our health experts, both at the state, our local level, and national level, keeping a mask doesn't protect you so much as it protects the person that is near you. So if you can wear the mask, stay 6 feet away, that helps, and that's the proper protocol for distancing.
Awesome, thank you. And Holly Cohen Newman just chimed in, and
Hi, Holly.
she says, I think she meant the high school grad parade, and I assume that's probably correct.
Yes. So the high school graduation, as it currently is being worked on, and as I said, there'll be more updates as we continue to move forward on it, is the parents and the family are to be in the one vehicle, the one car. And then the availability as they move forward through the procession would be the availability of the Principal Shakru has had, I believe it's 2 or 3 photographers that will be taking the pictures for the school and the parents, and then there'll be availability to upload those. So the availability to distance look and see is something that's in the works right now. And I know we'll have more on that as we move forward, especially with the new guidance now that Governor Lamont has given us as far as gathering. So some of this stuff, I wish I could give you a definitive answer, but it's kind of a moving target as we continue to open up and new rules portrayed by Governor Lamont in his executive orders.
Awesome. Thanks for clearing that up. I know they'll appreciate that. It looks like right now you've kind of dwindled on the comments and things. So.
Okay. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in again today. Grant, thank you. And as we continue to, get through this together as a community, again, I cannot thank you enough for everyone's efforts because it does take a community to get through something as life-changing as COVID-19 has been to us, our business community, our community as a whole, our educational community. I can't thank everyone enough. Again, from our first responders, to our educators, to our parents, to our faith-based leaders, to our medical community, to our whole host, our business community. I can't thank everyone enough for being there for the town of New Milford and for its residents.
I hate to cut you off here, but this is kind of looking for some clarity on it. But Elaine Bertram, she's in Clovis, New Mexico. She asked if there's any plan to investigate allegations of a pending investigation of false imprisonment. Is that anything that we can talk about in regards to the school?
I would think that'd be something that we would relay to the Board of Education.
Okay. All right, Elaine. So anyhow.
And lastly, just want to thank everyone for tuning in again today. And we'll be back next Saturday and with updates and with continued focus on pandemic COVID-19 and other issues facing our town and community. And again, I can't thank you enough for tuning in. God bless. New Milford proud. New Milford strong. Take care.